trees?
Those are blue oyster.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's talk about contamination today. I'm pulling out all these blocks right now. You guys can see that. And most of that is hardwood fuel pellets. And that was our last run. We're losing pretty much most of our hardwood fuel pellets, but I've in the process of me throwing out bags, I have learned a very important lesson, and that's kind of what this is all about, guys. Is the only way to learn is to make mistakes. And you know, for the most part, this does take time and it does take money, but if you're getting somewhere, then obviously making mistakes is just part of the process. So I've had problems with contamination in the summer, and trying to narrow down exactly what is the problem has always been difficult. And I started playing around with hardwood fuel pellets this year, and I've been unloading these bags a lot hotter than I typically do with our wood chip bags, and we're getting a lot more contamination with that. So my theory is that the bags we're removing are too hot, because I'm seeing less contamination with our wood chips, and the only difference is that the hardwood fuel pellets, because we pack denser into our sterilizer, they retain more heat. And I actually happen to have a batch of hardwood fuel pellets that actually sat in my sterilizer for 4 days. I didn't take a temperature reading, but you know, normally we unload every 2 days. So with that, I'm realizing that we have pretty much no contamination. So this is all very relevant data for where we're headed. So all of these, let me see here. All of these A1 bags, we got some up here and here, and we got some down here and here. So those are all hardwood fuel pellets, and some over here as well. And those sat in our sterilizer for 4 days, and then we brought them into the lab and we inoculated them. Whereas I've already pulled a lot of our D1s, but we're D1s and E1s. We're starting to get a lot of mold just kind of starting to show up here and here. If you guys can see, that's all black mold just starting there as well. And those bags, I know for a fact I removed out of our sterilizer, and it was probably about 150 to 160 Fahrenheit in the center bag of the tank. So even though we're pre-sealing our bags, we're probably not pre-sealing them well enough, and because they're still cooling down, when we disturb the bags, they're actually pulling in contaminants from the outside air. So this is a new direction we're headed towards, and we're just starting to realize how important it is to cool down. And when I was doing just one substrate all the time, when I was doing wood chips, I actually hadn't really noticed the correlation between that. But then when we started switching substrates, and they're actually being hotter than our wood chips because they're more dense, when we're removing them out of our tanks after 24 hours, I started seeing a spike in contamination in the summer. So then I was able to start making that correlation. So all of this research is important, and you know, you don't always know what you don't know, and that's really what this is all about. This has taken me a long time to realize this, but it is exciting to see data to support what I'm talking about and the assumptions that I'm making. So I'm not exactly sure if we actually do need to sterilize these long enough or longer than wood chips, the hardwood fuel pellets. You know, I was under the assumption that when you were getting these spots of black mold here, that means that possibly we didn't sterilize long enough. Whereas when we're getting these bags filled with cobweb mold, and I might have an example right here, and the bag just kind of goes really gray and white quick, that would be contamination when we unloaded our sterilizer too quick and there was a damage in the seal and the air is just getting right in there. So those are things that I need to prove, and you know, I'll definitely be paying attention to how long we're cooling the bags and the internal temperatures moving forward. Now, another interesting strategy that I've started doing, and it's even more efficient, so I kind of like it, is that we're actually not mixing the spawn, or at least the last batch I didn't actually mix the spawn in the bag. All I did was top spawn our wood chip bags, and I'll find an example. So I just top spawned, and the mycelium is growing in the bag. And really the idea behind that is if I start seeing spots of contamination in the bag, then because I haven't agitated it and spread around the spores, it's probably either there's a hole in the bag because we had wood chips and maybe the wood chip broke a hole in the bag, so I'll be able to identify that, or it's we need to sterilize longer. But what I'm assuming is if there is a seal broken, the top of the bag, that when we mix and when we spawn and mix, all those spores that might have got just kind of at the top of the seal or just at the top of the substrate, they're getting mixed in and then we're getting contamination throughout. Whereas if we top spawn our bag, potentially it's going to outcompete anything that might be in there, and then everything that's growing down below is actually going to be sterilized and protected. And I actually did the extreme case over here. This bag. So this bag was actually wide open in our lab. When we took this out of our sterilizer, the seal had completely broke. And in this case, this is when I usually just chuck it. I'm not even going to waste my time. But I was like, you know what? This is a great time to really put this to the test. And I top spawned this and didn't mix it. And so far everything is growing out in this bag perfect. So this is a really good strategy for us moving forward. And you know, if anything, it's actually going to save us a lot of time in the lab. And because we use sawdust spawn, there's a lot of little inoculation points with the sawdust compared to using grain, and we can use as much as we want because it's actually a third the cost of grain spawn. That, you know, maybe just putting spawn in the top and letting it do its thing is going to be a good strategy for us. And you know, you might think it might take longer to grow, but you know, really this is pretty significant already, and that's only 5 days. And I usually give my blocks about 3 weeks for full colonization. So these are a lot of the stuff that we're always working through to kind of dial in potential problems, and you know, it does take a lot of time, but as long as you're getting results, all of this is worth doing. So I just want you guys to be encouraged that when you do have problems, and I know you're going to have problems because this business is not easy, you know, just try to take some time to think about what's going on and try to come up with trials and ideas that is going to help you target potential problems, and hopefully you're always working in the direction of contamination free. Anyways guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Please hit the like button and leave a comment below. You know, I love getting these videos out to the YouTube community, and if you guys can help doing that, it's only going to make my channel more successful, and I appreciate all the help I can get for that. I'll leave a link below for our mentorship giveaway, and I'll even leave a link above. And we're just doing a YouTube promotion right now where you get a chance to come and learn on my farm for free. All you got to do is buy a Shrooms Bro t-shirt, and that's all part of the promotion right now. And I'm going to pick a winner November 12th, and you guys can come learn on my farm for free next year. Pick your week. I'll give you a place to stay on the farm, and really you guys get to learn with me while this business is rapidly changing. And hopefully next year will be the first year we're going to be contamination free. So I think next year is probably going to be one of the more exciting years for my business as we're entering into year 5. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.